G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. Well, look, it's about 19 to 29, but through the week, I think it was, oh, I can't remember Thursday, I think it was Thursday afternoon, we had a good storm come through and we got 35.5 millimetres in that. So everything was quite wet. Friday it sort of come sunny in the afternoon, but then Saturday was good. Yesterday, Sunday, it was just a showery day all day. So I haven't measured the rain, don't know how much we had, but it was just a constant drizzle and yeah, just a bit of an ordinary sort of day. But since we come back from holidays, the paddocks like had 1 metre tall grass in it, and I've been trying to find time to get onto that. So what I did through the week was jumped on the rider mower some afternoons, and I'd do a few hours on the rider mower. Then I think Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember which afternoon now, I jumped on the slasher and I started slashing, and I thought, right, I got the front corner tidied up. As you look at the house, you come down the driveway, the left hand side, I got that tidied up, and I got all the house yard mowing and all the orchard rider mowing and all done. And then the storm comes, so I sort of nearly had a sore back from patting myself on it for getting something done before the rain, and I thought, oh well, that's probably going to wreck the opportunity to slash the paddock, because we've got a couple of wet areas and they really hold water there. So I thought, oh well, I'll see how we go. But Saturday morning, the road, like the nature strip between our fence and the road, it was getting quite long as well. So I thought, well, I know it's good in any weather pretty well. I'll run out the front and slash that and just tidy the place up a bit. So I went out and did that, and I thought, oh, it wasn't too bad. So there's another paddock where the septic trench and all that goes. You know, we've got to pump from the tank up towards the front, away from the dams into these trenches, and grass grows like anything there. So I thought I'll just test my luck there. So I did that, and look, it was good as gold. So the next paddock down from the house, between the house and the dam, on the right hand side of the driveway, it's often a sloppy, wet sort of place. So I thought, oh, I don't know, I'll just do around the edge, and if it gets a bit shitty inside, well, I'll stop. Well, look, the storm must have just soaked in and run off and all that, because I got the whole thing done. So I kept going for the day, and I got the entire place slashed all along the fence line. Some of the trees that I haven't tidied up yet from when we got the fence line cleared, I got in all around there and pushed a bit of that up with the front end loader and tidied up a few little bits of that. And yeah, that put a big day in just out in the paddock really. So I didn't get much chance to do anything in here. I was just using the opportunity to tidy the place up. So yeah, when the place is tidy, you feel better about it, and you're not looking outside all the time thinking, oh, I shouldn't be in here, I should be over there, and all that sort of thing. So Saturday afternoon, once I got the mowing done, I learnt some stuff. And if you recall a few weeks ago, before we went away, the little mozzie, before we went away, we took the gold tractor to the Kuya show, and on the Grand Parade it stopped, and the Bearco electronic ignition failed. So to get it going, I had a spare coil here, a 12-volt coil. I put that on, and the old barn find tractor, look, it's out the back there. I've been nicking parts back off it for years now, so I don't know if I'll ever get it going again. And pardon me. But that was a tractor that I did the distributor up on in the videos back in the early days of the channel, you know, when I was showing people how to do a distributor, you know, how to put a new bearing on and just get it all organised on the bench. So I thought, all right, well, I know that tractor ran and that was a good distributor, so I grabbed that distributor, popped it into Goldie, hit the key, and away she went. Bloody beautiful. So the problem with that one, and I think I showed last week, was that one of the clips on the cap wasn't, well, the little pivot on the clips had broken off at some stage, and yeah, it was missing. So I put it on there, and with one clip the bloody thing ran. So anyway, I thought, I mean, as a bit of weather was coming in on Saturday arvo, late Saturday, I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll grab that distributor, I'll take it up to my machine shop, up my little workbench up near the house there, and I'll put the aircon on and put the YouTube on, you know, watch Joe Pye and Cutting Edge Engineering and those blokes. It's funny how Jude and I watch, I'm getting off the track here a bit, but it's funny how Jude and I watch YouTube. Like, we watch the news on telly, then we sit together and we watch YouTube for the night, you know, until bedtime. And bedtime can be, depending on what sort of day we've had, we're up at 4, 5 in the morning, but yeah, 7, 8, 9 in there somewhere. Probably not before 7:30, but we can be in bed. So we watch dinner, and we have dinner, watch the news, and go and watch YouTube. So when I'm sitting watching YouTube with Jude, if I put, say, Barry from Man from the Mist on fixing a tractor, it's not long, probably 10 minutes, and she says, I might go to bed, or Shane, or yeah, Cutting Edge Engineering, or Joe Pye, or Brian Block, or something like that, doing machine and mechanical blokey stuff. Within 10 minutes or so, she says, I don't know, I might go to bed. So the YouTube that we watch when we're sitting as a couple, we watch like Jack and Megan. They tour around Australia, but she likes watching Merritt Farming, Merritt Contracting, Mark Merritt. Actually, Mark and I are working together. We're doing a bit of a merchandise swap. So I'll be giving Mark a better shout out coming up soon. And but yeah, and look, for those interested, Merritt Contracting on YouTube. Mark and his dad run a mixed farm, you know, sheep, grain, all that sort of thing down the southern western Victoria. And what's up farms, his mate, every video, what's up farm? And off he goes for the day, you know, on what's happening. So yeah, go and swing over, leave him a message, say Bundy Bear Shed sent you. And yeah, we watch him and Larson Farms, and yeah, just a few that, Jackson Brothers, and but anyway, Jude likes watching the farming ones, and like Jack and Megan. You want to watch a couple roaring around Australia in a combi, Karsten and Maxine. What a crew! We get a giggle out of them. And Elnick, you know, they're touring around with the kids in a caravan, and yeah, our Aussie adventure and things like that. So the travelling, touring, and farming we sit and watch together. But as soon as we put something engineering, mechanical, all that, and Jude's to bed. So I take the time then. If I'm watching YouTube on my own, that's when I do a catch up. And or if I'm in my little hoochie, I've got YouTube up there. I can't get it up here, but I've got it up there. So I put like Barry on, or Shane, or yeah, like I say, Cutting Edge Engineering, and Mr. Pete. Yeah, good old Mr. Pete. He's always worth a watch. And so yeah, I put that on up there and started doing this distributor. So anyway, I had an old housing off a gold distributor, and it still had the gold paint on it. I'm pretty sure I bought Gordon Ellis. He does a few Fergie wrecks in town in Inverell, New South Wales. So I got onto Gordy one day and had a yarn, and I said, send me a heap of carby bodies and send me a heap of distributors, and I don't care what nick they're in, I'm looking for good bodies and things like that. So I've done a few deals over the time, and I've got a drawer with distributor bodies in them. And anyway, this TED 20 distributor that I did, yeah, I thought, right, I'll pull the guts out, I'll tidy this other housing up. So I tidied the housing up. Actually, oh yeah, it's up in the, just sitting over near the doorway. And I tidied the housing up, and I thought, right, an interesting thing is on the shaft, the main shaft that comes up, where there's a disc there where the centrifugal advance weights come out. The TEA TED 20 had a 10 degrees stamped into there, and the FE35 petrol has 15 degrees. So I thought, right, I'll have to use a 15 degree one because that's what this gold one had. So I pulled this gold distributor apart. I didn't have a new bearing. And I thought, well, I'd like to put a new bearing in, but I knew there was a bearing in the TED20 one. So I thought, right, rob Peter, pay Paul, I'll pull that out and grab that bearing and put on, but different bearing sizes, something I never knew. So the early ones had a bigger bearing. As they got later, the bearing got narrower and thinner. So I'll have to do a bit of research there and get the numbers. I took a couple of photos of the numbers. But yeah, I didn't know there was a 15-degree plate and a 10-degree plate. I just presumed you could grab one out of the other and there might be a slight variance in the springs or something, and that was it. But so the bearings are different and the plates are different. So I ended up, the bearing on the gold tractor one was good. So I flushed and cleaned it up, filled it with grease and serviced, cleaned everything up and blasted the housing and did the whole lot. And I've now got a working distributor over there. I do have to set the points on it. I didn't have a set of feeler gauges up there. But anyway, I've got a Sparex tune-up kit, and that had the points and condenser and all that stuff in it. And just sitting there, so it's funny what you notice sometimes, just sitting there, I put the distributor cap onto the distributor, and look, it fitted fine, and put the clips on, and I'm there looking at it and I'm thinking, well, it touches around the outside edge, but where that U-shaped cutout is and where the little locating lugs, there was about a, look, it would have been a good millimetre, maybe millimetre and a half air gap there. So you put your dust cover on the top of your points and all, and you bring your distributor cap down, and it had an air gap. And like a Sparex, and it was a good thing, well made looking thing. And so I thought, right, I'll come up the back here, and I grabbed the old cap and all that was on that. There was nothing wrong with it, it was just looking a bit faded. And so I thought, oh look, I'll just put a new one on, I'll keep the faded one for a bit of an old wreck and go from there. So I had a look and it was the same. And I'd missed that years ago when I did that video. Pardon me. So I went looking around, and a lot of them have a gap there. And I thought, well, that's no bloody good. So if you have a tractor with a petrol tractor, well, petrol Kero tractor, and you put the distributor cap out of the box on, chances are it's got this little gap there. And I thought, well, if you're in the rain or you wash your tractor, water gets in there, next thing you got water in your cap, and you're using CRC, 556, something like that, just to get rid of the moisture and all that. So I thought, well, that's a bit of a shit show. And look, they're all like that. Didn't seem to be what brand or whatever, they all had this gap. So I've done a few measurements. So what I've done, I've got a bit of 180 sandpaper, put it on flat on one of these green pads, and I've just machined it down with 180 paper. It took me half an hour maybe. I've got that fitting beautifully now. And the reason, the little tags that hold your distributor cap in place on the distributor, they're not square. They look square, but they're not actually. You start bringing them down. And on one of mine, I had to just run the file just in to open it up a little bit to let it sit. So yeah, so I rubbed it on the 180 paper, and I've brought that distributor cap down so there's no gap there. And look, it's a lovely snug fit now. So I've got a bit of grease on the finger, and I put grease all around the edge there, and I've brought the cap down and put the clips on, and you can just see where the grease pushed out a little bit. And so I've wiped that up so it looks clean. So that grease will give it a moisture barrier, and it won't go into the points because you have the dust cap with the felt just under the rotor, the little plate with top written on it. So there's this one little mozzie, piss off. That's pissed him off. Yeah, look, you could make your tractor way more reliable by just machining that down. And I reckon I've got like a genuine Lucas one there that's the same. There's a little gap. It's not as much gap as the others, but anyway, have a look at that if you have a petrol TEA. And where the cap goes on, where the U-shaped piece is, the taller U-shaped piece, and the four little tits, have a look around. And yeah, look, from my experience, there's a good millimetre gap there. So get a bit of 180, rub it on there, just machine it down, and And the other thing it'll do, it'll put a bit more tension on your carbon rotor, on the carbon brush that sits in the centre of your rotor, so it'll probably help that out a bit, who knows. And there's plenty of room from the wear in the distributor caps. I could actually see where it had been arcing, you know, where the rotor goes round and you've got the terminals inside the cap. I could see that it was sort of 2/3 down towards the body of the distributor, so there's plenty of room for coming up that little bit. So yeah, look, just a tip, have a look at that. Yeah, I hadn't noticed it before, so, and I didn't know that it had there was different bearings from one model to the other. I thought a Lucas distributor would just have the same bearing in, but they don't. And yeah, the plate from a TED20, which that one was out the back, to the FE35, yeah, it says 15 degrees on the plate, so it must advance 15 degrees instead of 10 degrees when you're under load. So there you go, live and learn. I put a post out on YouTube through the week on the community tab on YouTube Shorts. And look, what brought it on, a bloke last week on one of the messages said, oh, he didn't like shorts, and you know, he'd, don't bugger up your channel putting shorts on all the time and things like that. So, and to tell you the truth, I don't watch a lot of shorts myself. Now, the reason is I don't often just sit watching YouTube on my phone. If you're watching YouTube and a short comes up, you can click it and away you go. When I watch YouTube on the computer, you have your normal thumbnails of the videos, then you have a line of shorts. There's a cross at the right hand side top there, and you can hit the cross and get rid of shorts, and it'll get rid of them in your feed for 30 days. So you can do that. But YouTube put a thing out, and my revenue from YouTube has just dropped. Like, I've been popping a few videos out, and normally I get around 155 to 160,000 views on my videos every 28 days. Last night, with putting a few shorts out, I'm up to 174,000 views for the 28-day cycle. But the revenue, look, sometimes I make $1,000. That's a month out of YouTube. And look, I don't do it for the money. I don't need the money. You know, we're at the stage of our life where we've got a couple of bob tucked away, and you know, we can buy things that, you know, we choose. But yeah, look, it's dropped about $300 a month, and what happens is, if I had a camping four-wheel drive show, a channel, and the clicks per 1,000 views, or the dollars per 1,000 views, might be 13 or 14 or 15 per 1,000 views. Mine's down at 5 and 6 and 7 and things like that. So there's like an auction at the back of Google there somewhere. I don't know how this is what I'm told or what I've read. And at the background there, if you've got a camping one or a pop music one or something like that, you get ranked high, and people will pay more to advertise on your site, on your channel. Without YouTube revenue coming in, I wouldn't be able to do half the stuff I do. Yeah, it's just the YouTube revenue, I try and keep it here into the shed, and that's what I buy tools with. You know, engine stands, or you know, the gantry. That's what I put that into. Coming up for a new camera. This camera, pardon me, coming up for a new camera. This camera, this Lumix, Panasonic Lumix. I've got two cameras. The old one I pensioned off because the zoom and the zoom button, the spring broke, and you'd be, to just zoom in automatically on you. This one, on the weekend, I noticed if I zoom in, it'll zoom in, but it won't zoom out again. I've got to turn the camera off, and that's how it zooms out. So, new camera coming up. So, but yeah, YouTube. So what's happened is, because I have such a small channel and such a little niche audience, the advertising revenue for a channel like mine people don't want to advertise on it so much. So I got mates that have got a channel with about 2/3 of the subs I have, and they earn like 3 times more than I do, and that's just how it works. You know, no problems with it. But yeah, so something's happened in the background, and they've decided it's more of a niche thing nowadays. So they were saying put out shorts. So because I said, oh yeah, has that gone down? They said, oh, it's up for auction, and what people want to pay, they pay, and all that sort of thing. So that's fine. But they said, oh, do shorts. Shorts have ads on them, and that's a way of balancing it out. But there's no sense in doing these video shorts just for the sake of it. So I've put a couple out just as a test run. The only benefit to putting shorts out is I put one out yesterday, Sunday. I was just over there pulling this gearbox apart that we've got to talk about soon, and I was finding some really good parts in there. And you know, I took a quick video, about 47-second video of what I was finding, and you know, the gearbox, and I thought that was a handy update. It's just a quick update on what's happening. Yeah, just putting a short out of the dog running down the paddock sort of thing. Well, I won't do that, but I think I might keep doing the odd shorts. It's not going to be a shorts channel. There's not going to be one every day. Might be 1 or 2 a week maybe. And the other day I showed one on cutting some gaskets, because people haven't seen that, I don't think. So, and that was a popular one. You know, people seem to enjoy that one. On the poll I did on my community tab, 54% said they don't watch them, and 47, yeah, 54 and 47 doesn't quite work, does it, for 100%? Said, yeah, go for it, they don't mind, it's good, you know, it helps the channel. So I think I'll keep putting a few out. I won't bombard you with them, but something that I put on Instagram sort of thing, or on the Bundy Bear Shed page, I'll probably put a little short there too for those that aren't there. So, but yeah, look, let me know in the comments. That last one on, you know, when I just got my phone and just showed you the gearbox and the bits I got out of it and all that, yeah, that's probably the content that would be more suited to it, I think. Let us know, comment, get into the comments, I need the comments. So, see how you go. And watch a few ads. You buggers have been skipping over them, I'm sure. But anyway, it's not about money. Look, if I had 2 bob to scratch together and I could afford to, I would still do up tractors as time allows. So it would still happen. The gearbox parts.